3 Nights of Terror, True Sleepover Horror Stories. My name is Lynn. I'm 35 years old now, and I need to tell you about 3 horrifying incidents that happened when I was a teenager. 3 nights at friends' houses that I will never forget. 3 events that taught me that danger doesn't always come from outside. Sometimes it's already there, just waiting for an opportunity to strike. If you love true horror stories about psychological terror and moments that will make your skin crawl, hit like and subscribe right now. And keep listening, because these 3 sleepover stories will teach you that the greatest dangers often come from the people we trust the most. Sometimes the scariest thing is realizing that safety is just an illusion. Night 1. The Midnight Pounding. I grew up in a quiet suburban neighborhood on the outskirts of the city. As a 15-year-old girl, I loved spending nights at my friends' houses. Life was simple back then. Homework, hanging out, listening to music, and talking all night about boys from school. It started on a Friday evening. I was staying at my best friend Huang's house. We had been friends since 4th grade. Huang's family was quite wealthy. Their house was massive, with 3 stories, a swimming pool in the backyard, and a recreation room in the basement. Huang's parents were going out that evening. They said they would be back around midnight. This meant we had the entire house to ourselves. We could do whatever we wanted. We started with some snacks. Pizza was delivered. We had soft drinks. We had French fries. Then we went down to the recreation room in the basement and started watching a horror movie. Around 9 o'clock in the evening, the house started to feel cold. Huang said her parents liked to keep the air conditioning on very cold at night. I wrapped a blanket around myself and tried to focus on the movie. Around midnight, just as we were preparing to go to sleep, I heard something, a pounding on the door. A loud, forceful pounding at the front door of the house. I jumped up. Huang did the same. We looked at each other in the darkness. "Who is that?" I whispered. Huang shook her head. She didn't say anything. The pounding came again. This time it was louder, more angry. "It's probably the police," Huang said uncertainly. "Or a burglar." We slowly climbed the stairs from the basement. We didn't turn on any lights. We just moved through the darkness. When we reached the living room, I looked through the window near the front door. Under the streetlight, I could see a man standing outside. He was wearing a black jacket and a hat. I couldn't see his face clearly. "Open the door," he shouted loudly. Huang shook her head. "No way." We stood there in silence, just listening to the man continue pounding on the door. "I know someone's in there," he yelled. "Open this door, or I'll break it down." Huang ran to the phone and called the police. She spoke quickly, saying someone was trying to get into her house. She gave the address. She said she was a 15-year-old girl home alone with a friend. About 5 minutes later, we heard sirens. Police cars arrived. The man ran away. The police came inside the house. They searched the entire place. They checked every room, every corner, every closet. They didn't find anything. They asked us if the man had said anything. We said he just demanded that we open the door. He didn't give his name or reason. He just wanted to get in. Huang's parents came home early. When they saw the police cars outside, I could see the panic on their faces. Huang was allowed to stay at my house for the next few nights. We never found out who the man was. The police said he might have had the wrong house, or he might have been trying to rob the place, or he might have wanted to do something worse. We would never know. Night 2, the stranger in the stairwell. 2 years later, I was 17 years old. I had become more confident. I had mostly forgotten about the terror from that night. This time I was staying at a different friend's house. My friend was named Min. She lived in an apartment with her parents. The apartment had 2 floors, bedrooms upstairs, living room and kitchen downstairs. Min's parents were going away for the weekend. They said they would be back late. They said we should call if we needed anything. Min had an older brother named Dung. He was 19 years old. He worked at a coffee shop nearby. Throughout that day, I noticed Dung watching me. Not in a good way, in a different way, in a way that made me feel uncomfortable. I told Min what I meant. Min said her brother was creepy. She said he didn't like having her girlfriends over. She said I shouldn't worry, but I still worried. Around 9 o'clock in the evening, Dung said he had to go to work. He said goodbye to us. He left the apartment. Min and I breathed a sigh of relief. We watched a movie. We ate popcorn. We talked about boys from our school. We had a wonderful evening. Around midnight, we decided to go to sleep. We went upstairs to Min's bedroom, but just as we were preparing for bed, I heard something. A sound from the stairway. Footsteps, the sound of someone slowly climbing the stairs. Min and I looked at each other. We didn't say anything. We just listened. The footsteps continued, slowly, deliberately, as if the person was trying not to make noise. "Who is that?" Min whispered. I didn't answer. I didn't know. The footsteps stopped. We heard someone breathing heavily outside the bedroom door. I ran to the door and locked it. My hands were shaking. "Call the police," I told Min. Min picked up her phone with trembling hands. She called 112. We heard the man walking down the hallway outside. We heard him trying to open the other bedroom doors. We heard the doors bang. Fortunately, the police arrived very quickly. When they entered the apartment, the man ran away. The police searched the apartment. They found windows that had been opened. They found scrape marks under the back window. Clearly, someone had tried to get in from the back but failed. Then they found the front door unlocked. He had gotten in that way. The police asked if we knew who the man was. We said no. We said we had never seen him before. They said we were lucky. They said if we hadn't locked the bedroom door, something worse could have happened. Min's parents came home early. They were in a panic. The police told them there had been a series of home invasions in this area. They said it might be the same person, but they never caught him. I couldn't sleep that night. I just lay in my bed thinking about that man. Thinking about what he wanted. Thinking about what could have happened if we hadn't locked that door. Night 3. Do you know him? When I was 18 years old, I started to feel a little safer. I started to forget about those terrible events. I started to think of them as accidents rather than a pattern. A new friend named Tui invited me to stay at her house. Her family was quite wealthy. The house was beautiful, spacious. It had a backyard. Tui's parents were going out that evening. They said they would be back late. They said we should call if we needed anything. Tui had an older brother named Dung. Wait, no. His name was Dung. Actually, I changed my mind. His name was something else. Let me call him Tuan. He was 19 years old. He worked at a cafe nearby. All day long I noticed Tuan watching me. Not in a good way, in a different way. In a way that made me very uncomfortable. I told Tui what I meant. Tui said her brother was a creep. She said he didn't like having her friends over. She said I shouldn't worry. But I still worried. Around 9 o'clock in the evening, Tuan said he had to go to work. He said goodbye to us. He left the house. Tui and I breathed a sigh of relief. We watched a movie. We ate popcorn. We talked about boys from our school. We had a wonderful evening. Around midnight, we decided to go to sleep. We went to Tui's bedroom, but when we were preparing for bed, I heard a sound. A door closing. Someone had entered the house. "That's my brother," Tui said. "He must have come back early from work." I nodded. But something felt wrong. Something felt off. We heard footsteps downstairs. We heard him walking through the living room. We heard him climbing the stairs. He stopped outside Tui's bedroom door. "Tui," he called from behind the door. "Can I come in?" "No," Tui said. "I'm getting ready for bed." There was a silence. Then, "Is your friend in there?" I felt my blood run cold. "Yes," Tui said. She sounded worried. "Where is she sleeping?" "On the floor," Tui said. Again, silence. "Can I come in and see?" His voice sounded different. It sounded wrong. It sounded predatory. "No," Tui said very clearly. "Please go away." We heard footsteps leaving the door. Tui and I looked at each other. We didn't need to say anything. We knew something was very wrong. Tui went and locked her bedroom door. She said she was going to call her parents. She said her brother had made her feel unsafe. Tui's parents came home very quickly. When they arrived, Tuan had already disappeared. He had run away before her parents could say anything to him. Tui's parents apologized profusely. They said they were sorry. They said they didn't know he would do that. They said he had problems. My parents came to pick me up. They were very angry. They said I was never allowed to stay at Tui's house again. But something changed inside me after that night. I stopped feeling safe. I stopped trusting other families. I stopped trusting anyone. Years later, I heard that Tuan had been arrested for sexual harassment. He had done it to other girls. He had tried to enter their bedrooms when parents weren't home. If Tui hadn't locked that door, if I hadn't listened to my instincts, something much worse could have happened. The lessons I learned. Those 3 sleepover nights taught me lessons that I will never forget. The first lesson, listen to your intuition. If something feels wrong, it probably is. The second lesson, not all danger comes from strangers from outside. Sometimes it comes from people we trust, from people close to us, from people we think are safe. The third lesson, always lock the doors. Always check the windows. Always prepare for the worst. I'm now an adult woman, and I still cannot forget those nights. I still cannot sleep peacefully. I still cannot easily trust strangers. But I know I was lucky. I survived. I learned important lessons. And now I share them with you. Because what happened to me can happen to anyone. At any time, every night when I go to bed, I check every lock. I check every window. I verify every entrance to my home. The events from my teenage years shaped me into someone who is constantly aware of danger. Someone who understands that safety is fragile. Someone who knows that trust must be earned and can be shattered in an instant. These 3 nights weren't just random incidents. They were warnings. They taught me to recognize patterns. They taught me that predators often test their victims first. They ring the doorbell. They try the doors. They watch and wait for the right moment. I share these stories because I want you to understand something crucial. The greatest danger in your life might not be a stranger in the bushes. It might be someone you know. It might be someone you invited into your home. It might be someone your friend trusted. So be careful. Lock your doors. Trust your instincts. And if something feels wrong, it probably is. Because the difference between a close call and a tragedy is sometimes just a locked door. Sometimes it's just listening to that small voice inside your head that says something isn't right. I survived 3 nights that could have ended very differently, and I will spend the rest of my life being grateful for that. And I will spend the rest of my life trying to make sure others understand the importance of vigilance, trust, and safety. Those were the 3 nights that changed me forever.